Hello, and welcome to another episode of Defining Your Brand podcast. Today on the podcast, I have Tara Dowburd, who's a makeup artist and has even started her own business called Makeup Therapy. Tara has worked in the business for many years and has had some amazing opportunities to work with celebrities and corporate events, and I can't wait for you to hear from this amazing episode. And I hope you enjoy this. So thanks for joining us. For people who don't know you and don't follow you, that follow me, I'd love for you to tell everybody a little bit your name, what you do, where you are, all that kind of stuff.
Okay, sounds good. My name is Tara Dowburd. I am a makeup artist and the founder of Makeup Therapy. Makeup Therapy is an on-location beauty service company. We are based in California, based in LA. However, we work all over California, all over the US. We also do international bookings. We do, as a company, we do weddings is the largest part of what we do. And we have, we also take care of clients, men and women, whether it's, again, for weddings, photo shoots, red carpet, press and TV appearances. Basically, most of our clients, they need to look amazing in person as well as on camera and look the best version of themselves. So we don't do character type and special effects and such as that. We do beauty services. Just more natural.
Yeah.
And so I've been actually a makeup artist for, 23 years. That's crazy. I got my start. I actually went to University of Arizona, majored in marketing and fashion merchandising, minored in French, thought I might live between New York and Paris one day, working in the fashion beauty world. And so but I ended up, long story, but got a great opportunity working with Bobbi Brown when she still owned the company.
Wow.
And I was with Bobbi a little over 7.5 years, I got recruited to work with Shu Amora, which is a Japanese artistry brand based out of Tokyo. I was with them about 2.5 years, and then I was freelancing the entire time on my own while working for the brands and being dedicated to the brands, and started Makeup Therapy 12.5 years ago. So I have a team of 18 makeup artists and hairstylists that I slowly added to my team.
Nice. So I was going to ask you, so you said you've been doing this 23 years. Is that right?
Correct.
It's crazy. Like, I even just hearing you say that, I think there's so many times when I think about how long I've been doing this and I forget until I say it out loud. And then it's like, I've been doing this a long time. But it goes to show too, like, that when you love something, for me at least, it was when I realized that it wasn't something that I wanted to give up or move on past, that I was like, okay, well, this must be the thing that I really love to do.
You couldn't be more right. They say, I'm going to butcher the expression, but it's something along the lines of, if you love what you do, you feel like, you've never worked a day in your life, which
right.
I wouldn't say that I don't feel like I've never worked a day in my life. Like, we'll scratch that piece, but meaning where it just, the excitement is there, the passion is there, the drive and motivation because you love what you do. Right. So you're just coming from the right place. So yeah, it's very surreal when I think about how long I've been doing this.
Yeah. So you're in California now. Tell us a little bit about your background, where you came from, and how you kind of got to where you started to where you are now.
Sure. So I'm originally from the suburbs outside Philadelphia, total East Coast girl. Never thought I'd be living in California, kind of funny, but my mom, ever since a really young age, about 7 years old, she would have a professional makeup artist come to our house to do makeup for her for galas, events, and she was very social. So she was on the go all the time. Yeah. And I, as a kid, I was definitely, I would say, a little more of a tomboy, loved playing sports. I had 3 brothers. I have actually 3 sisters. But I definitely wasn't a big makeup wearer, but I loved when the artist came. I loved the application. I loved the way she moved the brushes, and it was almost like a ballet on the face. I loved the movement. And then I also loved how she transformed my mom, but she still looked like herself. Because it's funny, even now, if I do makeup and like a little kid is around and they're watching, like, I think they get scared, like, what are you going to do to my mom? But for me, it was amazing. Like, I loved that she genuinely looked like herself, just her cheekbones were stronger, her eye color, her eyes sparkled, and just certain things I remember as a kid. And I've been obsessed with fashion and beauty since I was little. My dad let me get Vogue magazine. So I would do little tear sheets, created my own present day Pinterest, but with little folders, actual folders, not virtual folders.
Right.
But yeah, so I just, my love and passion for beauty and fashion have been at a really young age, never left me. I did not know that I would become a makeup artist. I went to college in Arizona, University of Arizona, moved to LA. When I graduated, really originally thought I would move to New York, work for a magazine and get really heavily, again, beauty fashion industry, but ended up having an opportunity in LA with Bobbi Brown, and it just became something bigger than I ever expected or anticipated. And so I started out working with Bobbi, and for me, that was the closest brand that I felt comfortable with, because it's back then very much so clean, fresh, modern feel. And so I wanted to align myself with a brand that made sense for who I am, for what I'm comfortable with, not a heavy makeup look, and very inclusive. So a brand that could take care of women and men of all skin tones, nationalities, skin types. Inclusivity was very, very important to me from the start. And Bobbi was a pioneer of having every shade for everyone. And so as an artist, having that hands-on experience with Bobbi Brown was priceless, because it forced me. So I never had training. I never went to school to become a makeup artist. We made plans and God laughs. But it was something that it was like a hobby that I never really realized you could actually pay your bills doing. And I think so many successful businesses, that's how it happens. You're like, you enjoy something. You're like, wait, I can make money doing this. I could actually pay my bills. And that's kind of what happened. And so I just didn't realize the love I had for the makeup application, for that transformation process, for really connecting with the clients on such a personalized level, and helping them feel extra beautiful.
Yeah. So how did you get, what took you to California? What, drew you there?
Honestly, my ex.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah. We met in college, and he was originally from here. And like I said, I never in a million years thought I would move to California, but there was something intriguing. And like I said, it was really going to be either LA or it was going to be New York. And me being the East Coast girl I'm like, of course it's going to be New York, but I'll give LA a year and see what happens. And then I connected with so many wonderful, exciting, fabulous people, creative people. And I just felt like if I was young, I was young, and I'm like, this is the time, if ever, just to take a chance and opportunity and be open to it and see where it leads you. Yeah. And so again, almost 23 years later, still here.
That's awesome. Well, so, I mean, you kind of jumped into the fact that you just started at Bobbi Brown, and that, to me, I am not in this world. I am a photographer, so I do know of it, but I'm sure that there's people out there that seems kind of like an unattainable leap just to go into a brand that big. How did you how'd you make that connection?
That's actually a really good question. To be honest with you, this is actually pretty funny, and funny for entrepreneurs to hear this. So when I moved here, I actually didn't have a job, and I went to a Bobbi Brown counter to replace my lip gloss and my lip pencil. And the beautiful girl behind the counter, this was in Century City, Bloomingdale's, had said to me, "Oh my gosh, did you just get your makeup done? It looks beautiful." And I said, "Oh, thank you so much. No, I just came from a job interview. I just moved to California and looking for a job." And she said, "Have you ever thought about doing, having a career in makeup?" And I literally was like, "No, never." So the long story short of all that, I had 5 interviews. It spiked a curiosity in me that I thought, maybe this would be something I would enjoy while I'm really figuring out what I'm going to do with my life. If I'm not going to move to New York, what am I going to do? So I thought, why not be in that world? And again, Bobbi Brown was the main brand that I really connected with aesthetically. So I went through 5 interviews, never thought I'd get the job. The honest truth was, genuinely never thought I'd get the job. I ended up taking a job at a clothing boutique, super high-end clothing boutique, as a manager. And on my very first day, I did incredible because I had a very strong knowledge of women's fashion and working in high-end luxury brands. I was on my lunch hour went to a payphone, called my voicemail. That was a tape, I believe.
Right.
It was a tape.
Mm-hmm.
Called. I'm aging myself. I don't even care. And had a job offer on the voicemail, and I was like, oh my gosh, I just started this job. I told myself from day one, if I were to get the job with Bobbi Brown, I should take it because that's the universe telling me to try. But I'm like, oh my goodness, like they found me out. They know I have no idea what I'm doing. And so that's not going to happen. So I took a job on my very first day. So I got this message, and I went back to the manager and I told him what had happened. Not the manager, I'm sorry, the owner. I was the manager. And I told her what had happened. And so she said, do you know what the offer is? So then I had called, Bobbi Brown, and I found the offer, and it was like a great offer. The owner was like, I'll match it. And I said, oh my God, I'm so appreciative, but I don't know. And then I said, can I have 24 hours of sleep on it? And then I just thought, you know what? I'm going to give it a try. I'm young enough. If I make a mistake, I make a mistake. But really, what is a mistake? Anything that you learn starting out, you take it in stride and you apply it to your future. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do this. I went back and I was like, thank you for this opportunity. I can't believe I'm quitting in one day. I'm such a loyal person. It's not in my nature. And I took this opportunity and this chance with Bobbi Brown. And never in my wildest dreams did I think I'd even be there. I figured 1 year, because like I said, loyalty, I think, in business is everything. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, I'm going to give you that 1 year, no problem. But that was it. And then the opportunity became to become a manager and a head artist. And so I just had this opportunity, and I just had so much fun. I never realized how much I enjoyed it. Yeah. And how, and again, personally, like to do the applications. Yes, I enjoyed watching, but to actually do them. And it was just exhilarating. And then I had this amazing opportunities coming up when I worked with the brand that got me more into working with celebrity and all these other kinds of things and projects that I was with Bobbi over 7.5 years.
Oh, wow. So
yeah, sorry.
No, you're fine. So I'm curious, like what kind of jobs did you work? I mean, you said you got to work with some like celebrities and different things like that. Did you what was that like? I mean, I can't even imagine.
Well, working with the brand, it really helps that even at a young age, I was never like a starstruck person. I mean, I respect and appreciate and value the talents, but it's really helped me in my career. So when I did with Bobbi, I would do a lot of fashion shows, which were great. And that was, marrying the two loves of my life were fashion and, and the beauty makeup. Yeah. So that was amazing. And then on my own, through meeting people, because that's just so this industry. My very first huge job, I did makeup for a woman a couple times, didn't realize who she was. She was an executive director in film, and she was going to do this thing for Leonardo DiCaprio. And anyways, the long story short, she wanted me to be a part of it. And I didn't even have a makeup kit. I mean, this was my very first big job, but the expression, act like you've been there. Right. So that's what I did. Yeah. So she asked me about this opportunity, if I wanted to have the opportunity. It was 2 weeks. They were filming at the CNN building. It was like all these different people who've influenced Leonardo DiCaprio's life. This was like after Titanic, and anywho, it's a while back. It actually went straight to Blockbuster, which is hilarious. If you guys, anybody out there still knows what Blockbuster is, but anyways.
Oh, I do very well.
Okay, cool. So, so I had this opportunity. I remember I dropped almost $5,000 on a credit card. I mean, not the most responsible thing, but I'm a go big or go home kind of girl. Like, I don't have anything, especially when it comes to business. I always will do best product, best everything, best outfit, like hands down. And also when you're doing what I do, you're also selling image. That's a part of it as well. So, which is exciting to me because, again, obsessed with fashion and beauty. Right. So I showed up, I dropped the money, I had the kit, I was ready to rock and roll. I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't know DP, I didn't know any of the words for the crew. I didn't know anything, and we didn't really have Google back then so much. So I didn't know a lot of people. I just kind of, showed up at the CNN building. I remember I was on the elevator going up, and I was like, oh my God, what if they find me out? What if they know I don't know what I'm doing? Wouldn't it be funny if this woman was watching right now and be like, "That's oh funny. My God!" The reality was, it all worked out, and I had to keep telling myself she wouldn't have asked me if she didn't think I was capable. Right. And we self-sabotage, unfortunately, way too much, especially if you don't have that experience. But to be honest, everything in my career, the experience is what has grown me. I'm glad I went to college. I'm glad I have a college degree, especially being a business owner. There's a lot about it, and college is super fun, but
Yeah.
so it is very fun. But I will say I have it in having that college degree, that background. I think it gives me a little more clout as a business owner. But as being a makeup artist, I mean, that hands-on training, that hands-on experience, I should say, working with Bobbi Brown, that was everything.
Yeah.
That taught me everything.
And there's something to be said. You said, what if they find out that I don't know what I'm doing, or something along those lines. But the reality is, because I think a lot of us probably feel a little bit, what's that, imposter syndrome? Like I'm doing this, but I'm going to get found out. But the reality is, you knew what you were doing, and that's why you got into, you may have not known the terms or the words or, certain things, but
True.
you got hired on because you knew what you were doing, and someone saw that. And there's probably a huge takeaway for so many of us out there, that if we allow ourselves to, go after these opportunities that we supposedly think that, we're going to get found out, or we don't know what we're doing, it may keep us back from bigger things.
Taking the chance. I will say that there's a fine line, though, because I think sometimes people do dive in, they really don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And then, so let's be really honest. I did as much research as I possibly could.
Sure.
Prior to showing up. Like, I was not about to, I was going to do everything in my power and be proactive so that they wouldn't find me out. You know what I'm saying? So versus just, I'm going to just go wing it and hope for the best, because in a professional setting, that just doesn't work. And when I'm going, like what I was doing to be on this shoot, where they had this whole crew and invested thousands and thousands of people's, time and money, like, can't mess around with that. So it's going in, it's taking that leap of faith on yourself, believing in yourself. Like, deep down, I was like, but I know I could do this.
Right.
And then I do, like I said, do whatever I could to be proactive, to prepare myself to be successful, but take that leap of faith and say, you know what, you got to dive in at some time. You got to take that chance at some point, and push through the fear. And I feel like 99% of the time, when you do, but you have done that done that background education prior to doing it, you're a success.
Yeah.
90% of the time.
So talk a little bit about the transition from working at Bobbi Brown to opening your own business.
So I worked with Bobbi, and then actually I was recruited by this amazing man in Chris Algardo, and he was the president of Shuamura, which is, I was mentioning earlier. So I was recruited to work with Shuamura. I did the same kind of stuff that I did with Bobbi with Shuamura for about 2.5 years. And what was happening, I loved it so much in Shu. It has a very strong Asian clientele, and it's a little more trend-based and color-based, still like very quality, but like with Bobbi, there were rules how you did things as far as the application. With Shu, there were no rules. The rules were have fun with it. You want to put red lip pencil in your eyebrow? Go ahead. You know what I'm saying? Like, very creative outside the box. As an artist, that was so exciting because I knew the aesthetic and feel that I loved at Clean, Fresh, Modern. But if you're going to be a talent, you need to know multiple things in your field. I didn't need to know special effects because I never had an interest in going that route. But I definitely needed to know how to do more of that glam and feel comfortable and confident. So I put myself in that space, and so I worked with them. And then after about 2.5 years, I was like, all right, I gotta go. I gotta work for my brand now. It's time for me to create makeup therapy. So it was very difficult to leave the brands because I enjoyed it so much. But I'd done so much freelance, and I'd made so many connections. Again, all word of mouth. And then, I started makeup therapy, and I really thought makeup therapy, it was gonna be me, maybe a couple makeup artists, like, let's see what happens. I felt for myself that was working smarter, not harder. That's actually not the right phrase. Working smarter because I was working for myself. And all of my hard work, I was going to reap all the rewards of it. And as an entrepreneur, it's like, you've never worked harder in your whole life. You know that. When you work for yourself, I remember when I started my company, girlfriends would call me left and right. Hey, you want to meet for lunch? And I'm like, no, I'm working. And they're like, I think your boss will give you a lunch hour. I'm like, no, actually she won't.
Right.
Talk about, you have to have a lot of tough love with yourself. You have to be very disciplined. Friends would be like, oh, did you watch that show or whatever? I'm like, the TV doesn't get turned on, if it does, until much later in the day. Yeah. If anything, I'll have some jazz on or whatever, some, Frank Sinatra. But otherwise, I am so laser focused because that's what you need to be. um, it's you're working harder, but it's for the good of your career to grow. Every minute, every second, every conversation, every bit of research, it's all to help your company and help yourself and help your success. So for me, I always knew I'd have my own business, didn't know exactly what it looked like, started makeup therapy. I started with myself and 2 makeup artists. And what happened was a year kind of into it, I would show up on a lot of bookings where the hairstylist maybe wouldn't show up on time, or showed up looking really not put together, professional, or showed up, but they were talking a lot about their personal lives and inappropriate things. And, I'm very fun and very easy, but when it comes to business, I'm pretty, in a great way. There's a time and a place. Totally. And I'm all for that. But with business, it's business. And so I had started asking like the talent, managers or the wedding planners or the clients, would you be happy if I had hairstylists on my team? And every single person said, oh my God, be amazing. We trust you, your brand, your aesthetic is in line with us. Yeah. So I brought 2 hairstylists on my second year and just slowly grew the team from there. My goal to this day, but it has never been to have this huge team where I'm farming out jobs and having 50 people going places. And that's just, for me, it's 100% about the quality. But I grew into understanding that. I didn't know that from the beginning. From the beginning, I knew I wanted to do something. I wanted to have a company. I wanted to go and freelance and do all kinds of amazing creative jobs to flex those creative muscles, from weddings to, photo shoots to, again, things for television. I never got into film. That was never a passion of mine. And when I did television, again, it wasn't character. It was the client looking best version of themselves. Right. Award shows. And so I ended up, doing this and doing the makeup, and then realizing that the hair is what made sense as well. And I just told myself, I realize I'm all about helping to boost the confidence in our clients. And that was a big aha moment where I stopped doing the fashion shows because I loved doing them. They were fun, but I did them for like 9 years. And I was like, you know what? It's more exhilarating to work with real people who is about their person versus, selling fabulous fashion. So we are a team of 18 now, and it took me a really long time for me to grow that. And I'll probably add like 2 more people, but that's it. We are a family. When I choose the talent on my team, I'm an old soul. And so that's really important to me because as hair and makeup artists, a lot of times you can find people who aren't super grounded. They're because they're creatives. So, I mean, I have that moment where I'm like, oh, pretty thing, and I get very sidetracked and I see shiny, pretty things. And someone told me I had shiny object syndrome, and I'm like, whatever, I don't care. Like, I see pretty things, and I think my eyes probably just sparkle like that little emoji with the stars in their eyes. Yes. So, that becomes me. But I realized I really wanted to have a team where they were so likable, lovable, so kind, but the extreme talent. Right. So where they're confident, not cocky. Mm-hmm. They're it's all about the talent versus the ego. And I slowly created this team, and word of mouth from other people on the team that knew our brand, knew our aesthetic, knew our clientele, knew the temperament, knew how crazy type I am with regards to timing and staying on time, all that kind of stuff. So I just slowly grew the team, and here we are.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I even posted about it today. Like, teams are huge, and I think it can attribute a lot to our success. And I don't know about you, but I feel like as creatives, it's sometimes hard to hand things off to people or, relinquish control.
Creatives and as business owners.
Yes. Yeah. But also it allows us to do more things and allows us to reach more people. And so, yeah, I love that.
Today's sponsor is brought to you by Live Well, Love Well Apparel. Live Well, Love Well Apparel is a t-shirt company, but it's not just a t-shirt company. I mean, how many times have you bought a t-shirt and that you've loved, but it's actually not doing anything other than just being an extra t-shirt in your closet? How many of you have bought something to support a cause or support an organization, and you bought something, but it may be something that you never wear or never really cared about? Live Well, Love Well apparel is changing that. So how it's doing that is that it is designing t-shirts that you actually want to wear. This material is soft, it's got tri-blend material, it's comfortable, and it's just an amazing t-shirt and something that, like I said, you want to wear and want to pair with other things in your closet. And not only that, but it's a company that gives back. So this company right now is donating the proceeds to No Kid Hungry. No Kid Hungry is an organization that helps kids that may not have access to food at home. So when they go to school, that they have a meal that's provided for them. Right now in this pandemic though, kids don't have that opportunity. They're not at school where school lunches are provided. So No Kid Hungry is making sure that these kids that normally have food provided for them still have a meal. So go check out Live Well, Love Well apparel by going to lwlwapparel.com.
I'd love to touch a little bit. You talked about inclusivity, and I think that especially right now, that is such a important topic. So I'd love for you to kind of talk about what that looks like in the beauty industry and what your experience are with that right now, just as far as like everybody being represented and everybody having something that they can access in your world.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's always been on my radar. So it's not a new thing. It's not a trend. It's genuinely it's the cloth that I'm cut from. So it really hasn't been an issue. And I've had, on my team, I've had probably, a great realm of, artists and hairstylists from all different backgrounds. And it's, like I said, the way I've grown my team has been very much the word of mouth referrals. And so from all different backgrounds. With that said, as artists and hairstylists to be on the makeup therapy team, they have to be able to, I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but be able to very much so work with all skin tones, all skin types, all ages, all ethnicities, whether it comes to makeup or hair texture. Sometimes people will say, who specializes in working with, mature skin or textured, coarse ethnic hair, or just, I get all these different requests, and the reality and the transparency is you can't be on my team if you can't take care of everyone.
Yeah.
And that's why it's taken me a long time to grow this team, because majority of the jobs we do, we've never met or seen the client before. I mean, yes, maybe if we've Googled them, but I'm busy. I don't really have time for that. Right. Unless someone specific that I'm told to Google or told to get information, or someone sharing it specifically with me, I don't have time.
Yeah.
So the truth of the matter is, again, we show up, we don't know the style that we're doing. We don't know what style the client wants. We don't know what they're wearing most of the time. And so we need to show up and really show up and make it happen, no matter who or what you are. So with that said, I'm very proud of the team that I've created from day one, because that has always been a top priority to me. Mm-hmm. Now, I will be honest, I will sometimes say, I won't say, sorry, a client would say, maybe they're saying to me, an African-American, do you know how to work on, women of color? And that is a very fair question to ask, because there's a lot of artists out there. I don't know if it matters if you're, white or black, that they don't know how to match the right way. A lot of foundations, when I started with in the makeup world, a lot of foundations had a lot more of a red base or an orange base. And so it would turn a darker skin tone, kind of like ashy looking, or kind of orangey or red looking, and not really truly matching the skin tone. Bobbi Brown was more yellow based, and I loved that because it was a neutralizing. I'm probably telling you more than you need to know, but the truth of the matter is this kind of stuff is important, because it's having all the experience I did as an artist. And yes, I know a lot of people want to start their own businesses and just want to jump in, but having hands-on experience and getting paid for it by someone else, not a bad way to go. And I am so grateful. And I loved my entire time being with Bobbi Brown. That was one of the best experiences. And when people ask me as new makeup artists, like, what do I do? I'm like, go get your hands in it. Go force yourself to, like I said, work with all skin tone, like just be in it, because that is priceless, that you will take that into your career for the rest of your life. And that confidence, you'll be able to take care of everyone. It will go so far. And so that's happened to me. And so, like I said, when I bring on my team, it's like one of the first questions, like, what do you specialize in? Who do you feel like you take care of the best? Like, what's your style? Because I want to make sure that, they're an extension of me, and they're an extension of makeup therapy and what I've built and created, their reputation, blah, blah, blah. So when they're on a job, I can't even think twice. I just know, they got this.
You're right.
They got this. And so it's really important that we educate ourselves and that we recognize this as people, that we can take care of everyone.
Yeah.
No one should feel slighted.
Do you feel surprised? Because it's funny, I had a client once ask me if I knew how to photograph an African-American person, because she had someone else photograph her, and she was like, it didn't look right. It just didn't. She was like, it didn't photograph right. I didn't look like myself in the photos, and it surprises me. I was just curious if it still surprises you when you hear that people don't know how to work with all people.
I think I'd like to say I'm surprised, but I think a lot of people really get comfortable. I think once you start getting too comfortable, that's where your success can kind of dip. Because you have to stay relevant, to stay knowledgeable. That's on us.
Yeah.
That's our responsibility. And so it's not 100% surprising. It's more just disappointing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think especially like, if you don't have a certain clientele that's coming to you regularly, it's easy to, even not a clientele, but, if you're not practicing how to do something a certain way, if you're not doing that regularly, it is, I think, like anything else, is a skill that can kind of go away if you don't practice it. So even like, I try to make a practice of, scheduling a photo shoot with someone that maybe I don't shoot regularly, just so I know that, like, if I do have that client, that I'm not going to be underprepared,
So smart. I think to be a successful person and brand, it's really important that you are always putting yourself in situations that you're not 100% comfortable in, because that's the only way you can grow and learn. I think, again, once you start getting too comfortable,
yeah, it's a dangerous
I don't know
place.
how you expect to thrive.
For sure.
So we always have to be evolving and educating ourselves.
Absolutely. So what has it been like growing now your own personal brand, versus, maybe talk a little bit about what it's been like versus working for someone else. Has there been a difference for you? Do you feel like the work ethic is the same, or what have you, how has it been different since just having your own name?
Well, I think work ethic is very self-motivated. It comes from within. I was brought up in a household with both parents with a very strong work ethic. I'm so grateful for that. And because of that, I've just applied that into my career since day one. Sometimes it can be learned, because sometimes people don't have that example in their household, and they just have to want it bad enough. Because I've definitely, in my career, when I worked for the brands, I had people working for me who lacked work ethic. They were lazy, but they didn't understand why, like, they didn't have the success. They almost just thought it would just come to them. And I'm like, oh, honey, you're not entitled.
Right.
None of us are. Nothing's been, the honest truth, nothing in my career has been handed to me. And unfortunately, I've never had a mentor. I've literally just had to kind of like figure it out as I go and research on my own. I didn't have the finances to like hire a mentor or business coach, which I think those people are incredible, and I wish that I did.
Yeah.
But, you know, we have all of our different circumstances, and I wanted it bad enough that I was going to figure it out. So having the work ethic, I had it when I worked with the brands because I was a head, you know, artist. I was a management. So I recognize that anything I do, it's by example. So however I am there would be how, you know, the people working for you or working with you would also kind of mirror.
Sure.
And I believe that when starting my company, Makeup Therapy, I recognize that I'm showing an example. So so like I said, so work ethic is huge. The transition was definitely hard. I mean, I'm a very loyal person. Once you're like in here, or once you're like like one of my people,
Right.
like I'll literally do anything in the world for you. And with that said, I've definitely been burned. Like in my first couple years, I've definitely been burned where, you know, whether it was an artist, in the very first year, you learn your lesson and then you choose to learn from it and never let it happen again. But like having an artist, my very first year was running like 30 minutes late to a job, didn't tell me. And then the planner calls me and says, you know, where's your artist? Da, da, da. And I had already built like 2 years of a relationship with this planner. I had a wonderful relationship. And I was so shocked. Anyways, the artist kind of didn't care. She was like, well, I was running late. I was like, but you weren't proactive. You didn't let me know. So I could then call the client and not get this hysterical phone call. And so having those moments where I was like, okay, well, the honest truth, she never worked for me again.
Yeah.
Again. I remember I had a very, very high-end hotel, because we are my company. We are a preferred vendor for multiple hotels in town, as well as with different vendors, especially wedding planners. And a very high-end hotel had referred myself and my team for a very high-end wedding for a supermodel, and who lives out of the country. And they were coming in, and we did this wedding. And the supermodel, what I learned on the wedding was that all the bridal party, they barely knew the bride. They were there for looking good in the photos.
Wow.
Yeah, this was so many years ago. And so here, I show up, and this woman, the bride, was like, in her language, was yelling at everyone. She yelled at her mother, made her cry, like all this craziness. And to know me, like me and drama, like I can handle it, and I can handle it very, very well. Makeup Therapy, like I'm not a drama person, but I can definitely handle it. And, you know, I bring it's important to me bringing that calming presence on someone's milestone celebration. But, and I maintained it great, but it was like one of those things where I was like, I don't even want to make this woman look pretty. Like she was so mean and yelling at people, and it was just a horrible experience. And I remember I went to my car, I was waiting at valet, and I literally couldn't get my car fast enough. I bawled my eyes out, and I thought to myself, okay, what do I need to learn from this? And what I learned was I need to have some connection to a client prior to ever taking on a booking, no matter how much money it is. I need to do that because it's just setting myself up and my team for success. So we're a very word of mouth business, which is the best thing ever. I mean, it's so rewarding to have people refer you just because they think that what you do is great, no matter what, as a photographer. And so I learned that no matter what, going forward, and that's the thing too, just learning the lesson. Okay, going forward, I'm always going to have such type of connection before taking a booking with the potential client to know if we're the right fit. I would say I don't know if I'm going off topic, but I was going to say not taking someone's word over getting a signed contract. I was burned early on about someone's like, oh my God, I'd already done like a person in the family's wedding, and I was doing another one, and they were like, oh my God, we're so excited, to have you, the whole thing, but didn't have a contract, passed up a wedding in Italy, and then ended up, they were like, it was a situation, whatever, it was like a travel fee thing, and they didn't want to pay. And anyway, so I ended up not booking the wedding, and I thought I was. So I was like, okay, so going forward, I have to have that signed contract. It's, no matter who they are, unless it's your family, but
Right.
But, I think that, there's so many things as being, when you're an entrepreneur, that could literally just knock you down and make you question what you're doing. Why are you doing it? Is it worth it? There's so many sleepless nights. There's so much anxiety. But I think when you're weighing the pros and cons, that's just really what sets up whether it's worth it or not.
Yeah.
I
So
totally went on a tangent, so I don't know if I even.
no, that's fine. I mean, I'd love to hear, like, for, I'm sure any entrepreneur that watches this or listens to this, they understand that it can be painful, like very painful at times. And so I'm curious, in weighing those pros and cons for you, what is the thing that makes, at the end of the day, you look back and be like, yeah, but it was worth it?
All of it. I'm not being funny. It truly, all of it, because if I didn't go through it's not fun to cry and question whether, and I'm not a big crier or easy cry, but I wouldn't have learned my lesson. It would have happened at some point because there were times when people would say, yes, we're on, da da da, so excited, we're exchanging emails, I'm getting all the details, la la la. There's been jobs like in the beginning that I wasn't paid on because I used to not insist on being paid in full prior to arriving to a job. Well, there's been jobs I never got paid on, like literally ever. And so, that's kind of stuff. I mean, I don't know, if you're doing this just to have fun, cool. But if you're doing this to pay your bills and be a well-respected business, when I started out, the truth is, I remember people would be like, oh, that's so cute, you do makeup. So you're so cute. You're so cute. And I'm like, I'm not cute.
Right.
I'm a business owner. I'm a business. No, you're so cute. And I'm like, so that was a hard thing I had to push through, where it's like, I'm not this cute little thing, da da da, I'm playing in makeup. I mean, I am playing in makeup, but it's a business. Right. It's how I pay my bills. And I want to be respected as a business. Yeah. And you don't have to be mean about it. I wasn't bitchy. Am I allowed to say that word? I don't know. I think that it's just standing tall in your boots and knowing your worth and knowing what's important. But all of the hard things that I've gone through in business, and again, it's 12 and a half years. Most of it, I wouldn't have gone without going through it, because it's allowed me to become where I am today.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of people, I think people, especially in kind of the artistic side of entrepreneurship as well, they probably hear that a lot, that kind of like, that's cute, or that's, your little business, or, and it can affect people. And I think that's just a huge encouragement to people that are in these kind of artistic, sides of entrepreneurship, is don't downplay what you do, because it's important. It's important to someone, doing a specific thing. And just because it's not important to this person doesn't mean it's not important to the client that's hiring you. And so just understanding the worth and the importance that you have and what you're doing.
And staying true with it, because the honest truth is, for so many years, it's not that I didn't know my value, but for me to have a voice was very, very hard. It was very, very hard. I don't like confrontation. I just don't. It's just not my thing. Conflict. So I think maybe that's also helpful for me to say out loud, because for creatives especially, and I hate to say this, sometimes for women business owners, like, it's just hard sometimes for us. I'm just being honest, because I have a lot of women friends, that now, and that's not all of them, so I shouldn't, not generalizing, but I know a lot of my girlfriends who have these incredible businesses, but it's like, it's taken time for us, like we, thank God of having each other and having a support system is huge. Yeah. But, I had to deal with something, with what we're dealing with COVID, and there's so many postponements, and certain, for the most part, we've had the most incredible clients of understanding and really like saying, what can we do for you and your team? We know live events, the industry has been hit so hard, and what can we do to help? Right. And but there's like a sprinkling, just a sprinkling, of people who maybe haven't been as understanding, and it's, I think because of all my past experiences, it's made me really be able to stand true in my boots and say that, look, trying to say, this is not personal. what we do is personalized
Mm.
and it's intimate and it's connecting, but we are a business and it can't be a pushover. I have to be mindful, always mindful, number one, of the client, but I also have to be mindful of my business staying afloat and my team, who they are just the most unbelievable people ever. And they're so loyal and committed. So I have to look out for them. That's my job. If I'm having a team, I better make sure that they are happy and taken care of.
For sure. For sure. Tell me about you. The name is Makeup Therapy. Where did that come from?
Therapy. When I started out doing makeup, I've just had some things in my life that were, as we all have, went through some hardships in my family. And whenever I did makeup, it was the most therapeutic thing for me to do. It was my healthy out of being able to get out of whatever's going on and really channel my energy into something that made me get butterflies in my stomach, made me feel so happy, so excited, and so rewarding. So that's one end of it. The other end is clients in the chair. I would hear this constant theme of, this is so therapeutic, whether it's because they're talking, people talk to their nail person and their hair person. Well, I get to talk to your makeup person. That, and the fact of the transformation. Because when they get out of that chair, they look in the mirror, God willing, they have that aha moment when they're looking in the mirror and going, I didn't know I had these cheekbones. I didn't know my eyes were hazel. Like those kinds of things, which might sound small, but especially for a woman, they're small things or big things.
Yeah.
For them to notice beautiful things about themselves that they hadn't noticed before. And that transformation, that's a therapeutic experience. And so it stayed with me so strongly. And I was very worried, when I was first doing this, I was like, are people going to think like we are couples counseling, makeup therapy, you make up and go to therapy? And we all do that. You have to play around, it's like when someone's naming their child, they're like, say different versions of that, right? So but I realized like I needed to choose a name that really resonated with me, that was timeless, and I could feel really proud of. And the truth, like I said before, I didn't know I was going to have hair on my team. So that wasn't even on my radar. So when I added hair in that second year, I'm like, oh my gosh, do I need to change the name? And I had received such incredible reception. Like people loved our name whenever they met us and whatever. So anyways, I, contemplated changing it, and I was like, nope. Stick with it.
Yeah. No, I love that. It's funny, like you said, I had a experience that was kind of similar. I had a friend that I did a photo shoot with, and it was the first time that she had professional hair and makeup done, and she was very much like a jeans and t-shirt kind of girl and didn't really get made up, and so that was very out of her normal life. And to like see herself and then take photos of her and be like, oh, I didn't know I could look like that. And it's funny, she just got married, and I took her wedding photos, and she was like, I always wanted you to take my photos because I knew that you could take them in a way that would make me feel good about myself. So it's that's
the best.
And like that's the kind of thing that makes it not like a little business and not small, when you're actually changing someone's self-worth or the way they view themselves just by doing something like that's huge. So
yeah, and I joke, like, I know I'm like, oh, it's, makeup and hair, is it trivial and whatever, but the truth of the matter is, I think it was in World War II, like lipstick sales were higher than ever. It's the littlest things, especially like I said, for women, when they have those little aha moments, because you carry that through your day. Like I never, and my team, I don't want to just say myself, we don't take for granted that we are the last people that they are usually with, spending major one-on-one time with, before they get dressed and go in front of the camera or go in front of people, right? And so if they have a wonderful experience and they feel extra beautiful or extra handsome, we don't do like the makeup we do for men. It's just evening out the skin tone. It's just enhancing the features. We don't do any character style makeup. But having that experience and then they get dressed, our photographers we work with all the time, they're like, thank you, because it puts them in such a great mindset that confidence that they feel comes through in the images, and then their pictures are that much better, right?
Yep.
It's a
Absolutely.
game changer. And so that's really important. And then so I even say that when, where people are booking us, I'm like, when you book us, you're genuinely booking a team who works together all the time, and the client feels so taken care of. And that's what it's about. Getting makeup and hair done is a luxury. I mean, it's necessity too, but it's a luxury.
Yeah.
And with that, you should feel pampered. It should feel personalized. It's not, and so creating that experience is everything.
And the way they feel like while they're having it done, because that is a very intimate thing to have, I would imagine, to have someone
like in your face,
touching your face really close. Yeah. And so you're putting them in a state of mind before they're going into the rest of their day. So it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about kind of what is the future holds for you, where you're going. And I know it's a little bit of a crazy time right now, so we don't know too much, but as far as you can tell us plans for the future.
We just went through a rebrand beginning of this year. We relaunched our website the very end of February. We redid our logo. Very exciting time. We work, as I mentioned early in our conversation, we do a lot of destination bookings. A lot of our destination bookings we do are in New York. And so the plan, 2020 was supposed to be our financially most successful year in 12 years. We were going to be launching our small team in New York in September. And then within the next 2 years, I was going to be launching a small product line for makeup. So things have gotten a little changed,
Right.
but it's not to say things aren't going to be happening. For me, I would say basically mid-March. I did one wedding in May, but besides that, between mid-March and the last day of July, we had like 1 or 2 jobs. And then come August 1st, we did a wedding, and we've been working, and they're looking a little different, but no matter how big or small, they've been pretty magnificent, and we have the best clients. So I don't know, it's just been incredible. But so New York, God willing, I'm booked. I have a couple things next year, and I'd still like to make that happen. And I think that we're going to be doing a little more work in Arizona. Like we always work in Arizona, but I think we're doing a little more work in Arizona. I might create a small team there. I'm trying to just honestly think of like what makes the most sense now. And product will still happen, but it's just not going to happen right now. Because we need to, my goal is really, my team, again, so loyal. I want to make sure most of them have been with me 6 years plus. And again, my company's 12 and a half years old. I mentioned to you when I started makeup therapy 12 and a half years ago, I had 2 makeup artists. One ended up moving away after 6 years, and the other one is still with me. Yep, she's still with me since day one.
That's awesome.
One of my 2 hairstylists has been with me almost 10 years. So these are incredible people, and so I want to make sure I'm really looking out for them and taking care of them, and making sure that they're out there working and showcasing their talent and touching people's lives. And so that's really my main thing, is getting back to where we were. I've been doing IG lives, and it's been really wonderful. It just, helping to connect and stay relevant. I think, for businesses right now, there's definitely a lot of businesses who've been a little more quiet. And I know it's hard. I'm used to being behind the camera, not in front of the camera.
Yeah.
But I really think it's important. You have to be able to shift. I know people use the word pivot. I say the word shift, where, again, maybe it's not your most comfortable, but if you love what you do enough, you want to continue and you want to thrive and you want to get past this. I started my business when it was during the recession. So it's like, if I can get through that, I should be able to get through anything, right?
Right.
So we're going to still grow. I just want to get back to where we were, where it's a good, healthy balance and the busy, to be able to then take some of the other next steps.
For sure. Well, for people that are watching that don't follow you, I mean, you talked about doing some IG lives. Where can people follow you online? Because I want
But
them to know what you're doing.
so they can find us on Instagram, which is our handle is just at Makeup Therapy.
Okay.
We have our website, makeuptherapy.com. But if you want to watch some of my past IG lives that are on IGTV, that cute little TV that's in the, I'm not tech savvy, so I'm going to say it all wrong, but the little cute little TV, you touch on that. I think there's at least like 16. And, I try to incorporate beauty into the conversations. I have different guests come on, and whether we're talking about the beauty of flowers and how it makes you feel, like it's not all just makeup and hair related.
Yeah.
The idea of it is genuinely because I want to either make people laugh, make people feel inspired, learn some tips and tricks, and just take a break from the day for 35 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's called Beauty Talk Tuesday.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for doing this. I think that, I think people can definitely learn from your journey and your work ethic and everything that you've done. You've done some amazing things, and I think it's there's probably a lot of people out there that can relate to what you're doing and also would be inspired by the things that you've done and accomplished. So thank you so much for coming on here.
I appreciate you having me. And I would just say to anyone, it sounds like a crazy time to even try and start a business, but you can do it. You can do it. Just do something, have a point of difference. I think that's one of the biggest pieces. You have to have a point of difference. And for us, like for my company, like having a team who works together so often versus just random makeup artists and hairstylists, it makes a difference to our clients when we're taking care of them. Again, being taken care of by a true team. You have to have your point of differences, because if you're just doing what everybody else is doing, good luck.
Right.
Separate yourself from the others.
Yeah, and you got to put yourself out there. I mean, especially right now, everybody's a captive audience. Everybody's, for the most part, at home. So show up for the business that you want to have.
Agree.
Awesome.
Thank
you so much. Yeah. And we'll link all the links below so people can find you and follow you. And hopefully, this will be over soon and we can get back to the business that we love, and excited for the things that you have to come.
Yeah.
All right.
Best of luck.
Have a great one.
Thank you.